with a 4-2 victory, and again, Vincent Riendeau was brilliant in goal. The road to the Stanley Cup continues. Tonight, either the Blues or the Blackhawks will be eliminated. St. Louis Blues hockey is brought to you by Busch Beer. Head for the mountains of Busch. By Hardee's, all kinds of good stuff. By AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. By Midwest GMC, your GMC truck dealer. By True Value Hardware, your store of first choice. By Firestone Master Care Service Centers. Let a master care for your car. And by your St. Louis Quality Ford dealers. Your Ford dealers on both sides of the river. The windy city of Chicago. The scene for Game 7 of the Norris Division Finals. Chicago Stadium, standing room only, as the Blues take on the Chicago Blackhawks. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Chicago. I'm Ken Wilson along with John Kelly. The 7th game is finally here, and many expected that this series between two evenly matched teams would go 7 games. And John, for the Blues, they've had 6 previous series that have gone 7, and they've won 4 of those.
Yeah, they've had good success, and it goes back to their first year, Ken, in the league. In the 2nd series ever, they won in double overtime against the North Stars on a goal by Ron Schock. In 1972, Kevin O'Shea scored a goal in the 7th game. That gave the Blues a win. And ironically, 4 years ago tonight, the Blues scored their last 7th game win as they beat Toronto 2-1.
And as we remember, that propelled the Blues into the Campbell Conference Championship Series. That series went 7, and in mid-May of '86, the Blues lost the 7th game 2-1 in Calgary. This series began with Game 1 here in Chicago. The Blues won it 4-3. The Blackhawks came back in Game 2 with a 5-3 win. Then returning home, the Blues won 5-4 in Game 3, and what a dramatic finish with Gino Cavallini winning it.
He scored late. Gino had 4 game-winning goals during the regular season, but maybe his biggest goal came late after Jeff Brown's shot was blocked by Millen. Gino turned, took his time, and scored over Millen, and the Blues won 5-4.
At that point, the Blues had the upper hand, but the Blackhawks won at the arena in Game 4, 3-2. Then Game 5 back here in Chicago, the Hawks took the lead with a 3-2 victory. Saturday night, the Blues, a 4-2 win. It was tied 2-2. Who came through? None other than Brett Hull to break the tie.
Well, Brett Hull leads the National Hockey League in playoff goals with 13, and he scored the winning goal on a 2-on-1. Less than a minute after the Hawks tied the game, he came down and fired one through the legs of Kluche. After the game, Kluche said Hull is the best shot in the NHL.
Rich Sutter got the 4th goal. That caused everyone to breathe a little sigh of relief. He gets knocked down at the side of the net. Ron Wilson, who has been brilliant since picked up from the Winnipeg organization, gets it to Sutter. He drives it home, and the Blues take Game 6 by a score of 4-2. Well, Brian Sutter says no matter what happens tonight, my team is gaining experience. It's a young team gaining valuable experience playing in a Game 7. Bruce, how do you see game number 7?
Well, Ken and John, I've heard a lot of people say the team that wants it the most will win this. Well, both teams want it a lot, obviously. Momentum swings have gone throughout this series. The team that can play maybe 45, 50 minutes in this game, they can pull out a victory tonight.
All right, Bruce Affleck, we're just about set to go. The crowd is ready. We hope you're set. We're at Chicago Stadium. Game 7 of the Norris Division Final Series, the Blues and the Blackhawks. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
With Bruce Affleck and John Kelly and Ted Wilson, I'm John Kelly at Chicago Stadium, and the Hawks are coming down the ice. The Blues making their appearance as well, and we are nearly set for Game 7, and this building will get very loud indeed. It will build to a crescendo until Wayne Messmer sings the national anthem. As the Blues make their way up the stairs, 19 steps up to the ice, and I guess you could build a stairway to heaven tonight if the Blues can win. And Ken, the Blues have played well in this building all year. They like, I guess, the smaller rink and maybe the noise as well.
I think most players love to come to Chicago. If you had to play a 7th game on the road, this would be the building you would want to play in. And of course, these two teams have met in 6 previous playoff series. As we have chronicled, the only Blues victory was in 1988. You recall the Blues in these Norris Division Finals just a year ago were eliminated by the Blackhawks. The Blues trying to eliminate Chicago here in this one. Brian Sutter today typically tense. As he put it, if you can relax on game day, you're not a great player. You're not ready to go. You have to be tense and fidgety all day long. That certainly is his perspective and his style.
I asked Brian while we were waiting for the bus tonight, I said, Brian, did you get any sleep today? He said, heck no, I'm ready to go. And I don't know if he meant he's ready to go and play the game or ready to put the skates back on, but that's how intense he is, and he would love a win tonight. Sutter has never coached in a Game 7. Mike Keenan, his counterpart, has a record of 2-3 in Game 7.
I talked to Brian about Mike Keenan, and he said, you know, he's a great coach. These two teams are so equal. We've battled for 6 games. He says the coaching really isn't a big factor. He says, I just try to do the best I can with my team and not worry about Mike Keenan. But the thing you keep hearing over and over again, these teams are evenly matched. And Bruce, I guess it's fitting that we've come down to a 7th game.
Well, you mentioned it, Ken. Everybody thought this one might go 7 games, and it has indeed. You just hope that it isn't won by a fluke goal, maybe, or some strange goal. You want a good play. You want it to be a good, hard-fought game, and I'm sure it will be between these two teams with the previous 6.
All right, we're set to go. The Blackhawks and Blues line up for the anthem. Wayne Mesmer is set to go, and watch this place go nuts.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ran hard, the bombs bursting in air, came through the night that our flag was still
Wayne Mesmer with the national anthem, and the fans are ready. No doubt about that. Vince Riendeau in goal. He started every game in the series and played very well in the last game, stopping 37 of 39, including 18 of 18 in the 3rd period. Riendeau 3-3 in the playoffs, a 3.24 average. Ed Belfour right back in goal tonight for the Chicago Blackhawks. In his last start, he allowed 2 goals on 2 shots and was yanked by Mike Keenan, but the rookie Belfour back in net. Sean Koharski, the referee, the linesman Ray Scapanello, and Ron Finn were set to go, and here to tell you about the first period, Ken Wilson.
As the puck is dropped, the Blues control the puck. Brindamore tries to get it in, and Yanni has it in his own zone for Chicago. Over to Larmer. Blues make a change. Brindamore replaced by Wilson. Chicago to center ice. Blues move it back in, and the puck slides by Yanni into the corner. Tuttle is there, taken down by Yanni. Then Ron Wilson trying to center, being checked by Savard, gets it in front, but Larmer comes up with it. The Blackhawks Iron Man up the left wing. At the red line, a shot, and it deflects in wide. Bernard comes in front, and Snaps clears the puck away. Gilbert from the corner. A pass intended for Savard, broken up by Ron Wilson. Tuttle, outlet pass to Lowry. This is Wilson with Tuttle and Lowry. They'll just flip the puck in and change lines. Keith Brown for Chicago, moving out of his own end, and gives the puck to Troy Murray. He'll shoot it in. Riendeau back. Behind the net, clears to the corner, where Featherstone stops Troy Murray. A loose puck goes to Rod Brindamore, who skates with it in front of his net. Right wing for Hull, off his stick and into the Chicago zone. Brown for the Blackhawks. A right wing pass for Dirk Graham. He shoots, and it's blocked by Lawler. Zezel takes the puck, gets it ahead to Riendeau, knocked down by Troy Murray. Back to the right point. Bob Murray, a screen shot wide. Conroy from the left point, a shot knocked down in front by Graham. Loose puck in the crease, knocked to the corner. Jocelyn Lemieux there for the Hawks, leaves the puck, and Mike Lawler takes possession for the Blues. Rink wide pass behind Brett Hull. Here's Bob Murray at center ice and over the line, and he can't get around Lawler, who sends the puck the length of the ice. Back to touch it is Dave Manson, and it is an icing call against the Blues. 1 minute and 40 seconds into the opening period here of game number 7, and Dirk Graham is dressed, John.
He's had a fractured kneecap. He fractured that kneecap March 17th in Montreal. Has not seen action since, but he's back in the lineup. And sitting out in his place is Al Secord, so that's the only change. And the Hawks had a pretty good chance as Graham worked in right wing, but Mike Lawler went down and blocked the shot, and that's something we'll see a lot of. In a Game 7, you'll sacrifice your body, certainly a lot more than you would from a game in November.
One of these teams will see their season end tonight. The face-off near Riendeau. It's Oates against Creighton. Oates on with Momesso. And McLean back to Manson, left point, a shot just wide. Then Momesso tries to clear the puck out, and with McLean's help is able to. He'll slap it into the Hawk zone. Manson back, clears the center ice. Dirk back in his own zone. Has a Hawk player in his way. That's Dwayne Sutter. Dirk wrestles with him. The puck comes loose to the near side. And here's Paul McLean. 2 Oates, 2-on-2, crisscrossing with Momesso. Oates over the line check. Hawks trying to get it out. Bob Murray has it. He has some skating room. A pass at center ice to Goulet, ahead for Sutter, too far. Chicago changing. Back to the puck for the Blues is Robert Dirk. Over to Paul Cavallini. He clears it out, but he's punished by Roenick. The puck goes the length of the ice, and the Hawks touch it, and it is another icing called against the Blues. No score in the first period. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Ford trucks are the #1 selling trucks in America, and your St. Louis quality Ford dealer is out to keep it that way with up to $1,500 cash back from Ford. Now get $750 cash back on Ford's tough full-size pickup, $1,000 cash back on Ford Ranger or Bronco 2, and $1,500 cash back on a big Ford Bronco. Big savings on America's #1 trucks now at your St. Louis quality Ford dealer.
On both sides of the river to St. Louis, Ford is you.
The Blues are using the same lineup they used in Game 6. That means Gordy Roberts is out, along with Rich Mahar, Herb Ragland, and Kelly Chase.
Ready for the face-off in the Blues end. It's Mongeau against Roenick in a false start, and we'll have the face-off again. Michel Mongeau played in Saturday night's game at the arena. The Blues were very pleased with his work. Steps and Brown on defense. Lowry, Mongeau, and Tunnel up front. Brown out of his own end with a pass to Lowry, who tips the puck into the Chicago zone. Yanni back, leaves it. Presley can't clear, snaps a shot, and it's tipped just wide of Belfort. Thomas around to the far side. Here's Chicago. Presley up the middle to Doug Wilson, right wing. Roenick trying to move in on Brown in front of backhand shot. He scores! Jeremy Roenick.
It was a 2-on-2 break, and Roenick simply went wide on Jeff Brown. And this is what the Blues did not want to happen, as he faked to go to the outside, pulled it back inside, and Brown watched the puck and did not take the man. And then Roenick backhanded one right through the legs of Riendeau, and the Hawks score first at 2:47. Roenick's 8th of the playoffs and his 3rd of the series.
Roenick, the rookie from the Boston area, leads the Blackhawks in playoff goal scoring now with 8. Wayne Presley, who was brilliant in the Minnesota series, has 7. And the face-off at center ice as the Blues are down 1-0. Shy of the 3-minute mark, first period. Lawler drives the puck in. Belfour unable to stop it behind the net. Rich Sutter banks it behind the goal. Manson for Chicago there. Up the middle to Roenick. 2-on-2. Over the line, Roenick. Puck poked away, and the Blues have it in their own end. Holtz knocks it down with a high stick, and that'll stop play as Yanni mixes it up a bit. And Bob Murray and Gino Cavallini do some shoving. But play is stopped from the high stick infraction, and the faceoff will come back inside the St. Louis blue line. 3 minutes and 5 seconds into this first period.
Well, the Hawks get the early lead, and Bruce Affleck, that's something that is so very important in a playoff game.
It certainly is, John. It's gotten the crowd into it now, and it's not the thing the Blues wanted to go, but Jeremy Roenick, a fine 20-year-old rookie from the Hawks, has gotten his 8th playoff goal, and he's been a star really in both series, Minnesota and the Blues series, so he gets the Hawks off to an early 1-0 lead.
There are all sorts of statistics that can be quoted about teams that score the first goal in a game, and most of them aren't very pleasant. So the Blues trail it. They win the face-off in their own zone. Lawler with a puck on with Featherstone up the middle to Brindamore. With Hall and Zezel trying to move in front. Brindamore, and he can't get around Keith Brown. Now Dirk Graham tied up along the far board. Zezel tries to move the puck in and can't. Then Brindamore shoots it in. And the Blues will dig in after it, but Conroy back first for Chicago. Leaves it for Jocelyn Lemieux, the former Blues player. At center ice for Troy Murray with Graham. Troy Murray shoots it in wide of the goal, and Lawler clears it out. The puck will slide the length of the ice. Hull and Conroy after it. Conroy gets there first, touching the puck, and again, the Blues are called for icing. They find themselves trailing 1-0 as Roenick has scored on the only shot so far in the game.
Brett Hull so far in the playoffs, 13 goals, and when you combine that with his 72 during the regular season, that gives him 85, so only 5 men have ever scored more goals than Brett Hull in 1 year, playoffs and regular season combined. Gretzky, the all-time leader, had 100 goals back in 1984, with 87 in the regular season and 13 in the playoffs, and Ken, I guess if the Blues were to go to the finals, Hull would have a shot at that record.
Well, there's no doubt about it. He has been unstoppable. Actually, teams now have quit talking about trying to stop Brett Hull. Savard against Ron Wilson in the face-off near Riendeau. And a false start, they'll do it again. Ron Wilson has been one of the big stories for the Blues. Goaltending in the playoffs, of course, have been a huge story. And Brett Hull, probably the overriding headline since the season began last October. Quick shot, and a glove save by Riendeau right from the face-off as Larmer from the right circle lets one go. He is very sneaky.
Ken, you mentioned the importance of the first goal. The Hawks are 4-0 when scoring first in the playoffs, as the Hawks' Larmer had a quick shot off the draw. But so far in this series, the big statistic, the second goal, whichever team gets the 2 goals first, has won every game in this series. So maybe the second goal is more important than the first one.
I guess the Blues are about to get the next 2 goals. Still very early in the first period. Wilson against Savard again. Savard wins the draw. Right point to Bob Murray. His shot right on. A pad save by Riendeau. Paul Cavallini ahead to Ron Wilson. He can't clear it out. Larmer keeps the puck in. A battle along the near boards. It's center to Larmer. A shot blocked by Dirk. Then Gino Cavallini sweeps the puck neatly up the right wing to Sutter. Rich Sutter will dump it in. Belfour way out of the crease. He'll play the puck around to the near side. Sutter knocks it down in the corner. Here's an opportunity for the Blues. Gino Cavallini checked, and Savard takes over. Over to Gilbert, the former Islander. Greg Gilbert on the right wing. Bumped by Dirk. Still has the puck. Gets it in front, and Wilson intercepts. Ron Wilson for the Blues. Right wing. Too far for Gino Cavallini, and the Hawks clear it out. Ron Wilson, the veteran, drives the puck back in, and both teams are changing players. The Hawks, Doug Wilson ahead to Steve Thomas. Around Oates. Dumps it in. It'll slide to Riendeau. He'll clear to the far corner. Harold Sneps is there. Presley crunches him. Then Momesso at center ice to Oates, trying to get around Yanni, and he'll just flip it into the Chicago zone. First man in the corner, McLean. Hit by Thomas. And the Hawks take over. Here's Roenick, the goal scorer, with Doug Wilson. 4 Blues back to Doug Wilson, and he hits the post. Doug Wilson hits the post. Puck behind the Blues net. Roenick unable to center. Presley moves into the corner. Oh, and he's smashed out by Sneps. It's center to Thomas. A shot blocked. Presley behind the net. Unable to center. Oates gets the puck. Clears it up the board. Brown pinches in. He's hit by Momesso. And the Blues take over. Oates. He's tripped. No call. Puck at center ice. Shot back in by Steve Thomas. The Hawks giving the Blues all they can handle. Here's Sneps, drilled down by Creighton. Loose puck in the corner. Creighton knocks Sneps down again, and Sneps apparently has the puck under his body. And some roughhousing in the corner deep in the St. Louis end. Big Adam Creighton, one of the biggest players in the league, really hammering on the veteran, Harold Sneps. Play is stopped 5 minutes and 30 seconds into this first period. Jeremy Roenick has scored the only goal. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Well, a typical start here at Chicago Stadium. The Blackhawks have scored first on Jeremy Roenick's goal, and Doug Wilson nearly made it 2-0. He came down on the right wing side and hit the goalpost, the left goalpost behind Riendeau. The Blues still have no shots on goal.
Face off at center ice. Keith Brown firing the puck in for Chicago. Featherstone back, plays it up the far wing. Zezel is tied up by Graham. The puck is knocked out to center ice, and here's Troy Murray with it for Chicago. He plays a pass to himself off the boards, rifles the puck in. Far side Zezel hit by Graham. Zezel tries to poke the puck by Keith Brown and can't. They both go down, and Zezel ends up sitting on the puck, and that stops the action. We are 5 seconds short of the 6-minute mark. The Hawks are up 1-0 here in the 7th and deciding game of the Norris Division Finals. And this is about as good a start as the Blackhawks have really had. I've always thought during the regular season, John, and during the playoffs that the Hawks would really come out in the first 5 and 10 minutes of the game against the Blues, and they haven't been that effective at it. But tonight you have to be pretty impressed with them.
Well, they have been hitting all night, although the Blues had a couple of big hits moments ago. Both Meso and Sneps had big checks.
Puck in the Blues end. Cleared up to Zezel. Now to Brindamore at the red line. 2-on-2 with Hull. In over the Chicago line. Brindamore on the right wing in the circle. A shot. That deflects wide, and Jocelyn Lemieux sends Brindamore reeling. Dirk Graham in his own end for Chicago. Ahead to Troy Murray with Lemieux over the line. Dirk takes out Troy Murray in the corner. Then Brindamore hit by Lemieux. A battle for the puck. Lemieux gets it. Right point. Bob Murray, screen shot, and it goes just wide. Left point, Conroy. A pass behind the net. It's left there for Dirk Graham. Graham centers off Riendeau, knocked down, and cleared the length of the ice by Paul Cavallini. The puck goes right to Ed Belfour. Both teams are changing. Blues are down 1-0. Up to Conroy it comes. Now to Bob Murray. He'll tip it in. Could be icing. Lowry back to touch it, and it is an icing call against Chicago. 13-12 to go here in the first period. And the Blackhawks leading 1-0, and they have outshot the Blues 3-0.
And Bruce Affleck, it's tough to win when you don't get many shots or any pressure.
Well, fortunately, it's a 60-minute game, and the Hawks have gotten off to a quick 1-0 lead. John, the intensity level obviously very high for both teams. Both teams have had some good, hard body checks. Chicago maybe a couple more, but they have had the majority of the play. And really, as you look at it, the Blues can weather maybe this first 5-10 minutes with only that goal against them. Obviously, it would be better for them.
Weathering the storm. It's something they've talked about for years here in Chicago. Brian Sutter makes the point, and it's well taken, that with the possible exception of Game 6 in St. Louis, neither team has been able to come out early and dominate and then sustain it for 60 minutes. They both try to, but have been unable to. The question now becomes, will the Blackhawks be able to sustain their fine early effort? Bonjo unable to win the faceoff in the Chicago end. Gilbert to center ice, taken down by Tuttle. And then Doug Wilson will shoot the puck in. It bounces right to Riendeau. He clears it into the corner. A loose puck there for Larmer. Right point to Trent Yawney. He'll play it up the far boards where Larmer is tied up by Ron Wilson. Then Gilbert in the slot to Savard. A shot off Sneps. Flips high to Riendeau, and he gloves the puck and holds it for a face-off as Gilbert and Brown do a little shoving right in front of young goalie Vincent Riendeau. The Hawks won, and the Blues no score. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Chicago leading on a goal by Roenick from Wilson and Presley at 2:47. Now 12:46 left first period. Savard out with Larmer and Gilbert. The Blues counter with their checking line of Wilson, Sutter, and Gino Cavallini. And so far, Savard has been held to 1 goal in the series.
Face-off with Savard and Ron Wilson. And Savard will be waved out. That means Larmer will come in. ready for the faceoff. Rich Sutter in the circle a little early. Now the puck drop. Rich Sutter gets it along the boards in his own end. Playing it behind the net for Mike Lawler. Left wing for Gino Cavallini. He'll shoot it in, but off Bob Murray's stick, the puck goes high and into the crowd. Now Gilbert wants to go at it with Featherstone at center ice, and the linesmen are going to have to let him go momentarily, and then they slip and fall down. And Greg Gilbert of the Hawks and the Blues' Glenn Featherstone will be separated. Now Manson having words with Rich Sutter, and then Don Koharski tries to separate that duo. We'll have penalties with 12:32 remaining in the first period. 1-0 Chicago. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Gilbert and Featherstone get fighting majors. Here at 7:28, the Hawks lead 1-0. That was only the fourth fight in this series. The teams had 13 fighting majors during the regular season, but both Mike Keenan's Blackhawks and Brian Sutter's Blues have tamed the axe down a bit here in this playoff series.
At center ice, a face-off. Again, Wilson for the Blues, Savard for the Hawks. Wilson gets the puck to Lawler. He'll flip it high into the corner. Back forward is Manson. He's on defense with Bob Murray. Manson up the right side to Larmer. Left wing to Creighton. Crisscrossing with Savard. He gives him the puck. Savard over the line. Did not have full possession. And consequently, he was offside. And that'll bring a face-off outside the St. Louis blue line. And the Blues and Hawks will make some changes.
I mentioned Savard only one goal in this series. He played very well, though, in Game 6. He had 11 shots on goal, including that goal. But yesterday in the papers, Blackhawks coach Mike Keenan blasted Savard for the slashing penalty he took late in Game 6 when he slashed Paul Cavallini. He said, you can't take those undisciplined penalties and expect to win. So he and Savard continue their feud.
Riendeau faces off at center ice. And the Hawks control that face-off with Troy Murray. Brown shoots it in. Back for the puck, Paul Cavallini. And his pass up ice comes to center ice. Conroy for Chicago dumps it back in. Here's Lawler over to Paul Cavallini. Up front, Hull. Pass for him on the left wing too far with Zezel and Brindamore. Troy Murray circles back in his own end. Flips it ahead. Lawler has it at the red line. Shoots it in. Belfour knocks the puck down for Conroy. Left wing to Jocelyn Lemieux. Hawks moving out of their own end. To Conroy. He'll shoot it in wide of the net. Zezel back. Pursued by Graham. Intercept. Centers! And a great save on Troy Murray by Riendeau. Graham stealing the puck and setting up Troy Murray in front. And a dazzling save by Riendeau. At center ice, Jocelyn Lemieux moving into the left wing, and he's knocked down by Paul Cavallini. Here's Lawler with it to Paul Cavallini. He'll just clear it out, and the puck will slide back into the Chicago zone. Both teams are changing. This first period approaching the 9-minute mark. Hawks lead it 1-0. Roenick to Presley over the line. Intercepting Oates. Ahead to Momesso. He can't go anywhere. Then Thomas stopped at center ice. Doug Wilson gets it to Roenick. He fans, but tips it in. Brown back in the corner for the Blues. Jeff Brown's pass at center ice intercepted, and Wayne Presley shoots the puck right back in. Harold Sneps, left wing to Momesso, off his skate and stick, and Roenick gets it. Fails to take a shot, leaves it in the corner for Thomas. He centers, and Sneps intercepts. Left wing to Momesso. Here come the Blues on the attack. Momesso flips it in. Belfour wanders to the corner. A nice pass up to Presley. A blind, rink-wide pass to Steve Thomas. Into the Blues zone with Roenick, and then it's poked away by McLean. Bob Murray keeps the pressure on by shooting it in for Chicago. Then across the way by the door to the Chicago players' bench, Momesso gets in a bit of a shoving match and play is stopped. Then Dirk steps in. He and Manson do some shoving. And then Manson barks at Dirk. And Don Koharski, the referee for tonight's game, is headed to the penalty box. And it's 1-0 Hawks. Jeremy Roenick scoring early in this opening period in this 7th and deciding game. While the penalties are handed out by Don Koharski, let's pause 15 seconds for station identification. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Steve Thomas gets the only penalty, a roughing minor at 9:41. And Bruce, a power play goal here by the Blues would not only tie the game, but stem the tide a bit.
It certainly would, John. You know, the thing I've noticed the most is how much time the Blackhawk defense have to go back into the corner and get the puck. Very little forechecking in the early part by the Blues forwards. Meanwhile, the other end, the Blues defense having someone on them right away. But this would certainly cool the crowd down and get the Blues in the game.
The Blues have been outstanding on the power play in the first 2 rounds of this playoff of 1990. They're successful 26% of the time, best of any of the teams in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Here's Oates quarterbacking to center ice with a bouncing puck. Plays it ahead off of Hull, and it's cleared out by Yanni. Zezel back at his own blue line. Passes the puck further back to Brown, who'll start out from behind his own net. 9:50 to go. First period. Blues looking to tie it on the power play. Up to Zezel, right wing to Hull. Into the slot. Left point, Jeff Brown, a drive, and Belfour the save on Jeff Brown. Bob Murray can't clear it out. Kept in. Now Hull to Brindamore. He can't get a shot. Here's Hull, a drive. And it's deflected well wide. Graham and Zezel battle. Then Larmer check. Kept in by Jeff Brown with a dive. Hull in the corner, centers to Zezel. And it goes off his skate behind the net. Zezel leaves it there. Then it's played by Brindamore. Right point to Oates. A pass shot right on. Belfour the save. Puck now behind the Chicago net. Here's Zezel looking to center. Checked by Bob Murray. Hull is also there. And the puck squirts loose to Chicago. Steve Larmer with it. He'll clear it the length of the ice. 43 seconds to go in the Blues power play. 9 minutes to go in the first period. Chicago leads it 1-0 on a Jeremy Roenick goal. Mongeau in his own zone. Over to Brown. Jeff Brown now to Paul McLean. Rink wide to Oates at the red line. Ahead for Hull, trying to move around Keith Brown. He can't lose puck. Back to Oates. Moving in a shot off a skate wide. The puck behind the net. Mongeau trying to center, being held on to by Keith Brown. In the corner now, it's McLean. Paul McLean, right point to Oates. Left point, Jeff Brown. Shot deflected wide by Hull. Now behind the net, Mongeau. In front for Oates, and the elevated pass goes by him. And the Blues will go back into their own end. And the penalty to Steve Thomas is over. They love it in Chicago. Blues have been outshot 4-2. Here's McLean, left wing to Momesso, moving in, and he can't sidestep Manson. Conroy for Chicago around for Steve Thomas. He'll get it to center ice where Ron Wilson takes the bar down. Left wing it comes to Lawler over the line. He'll flip it behind the Chicago net, and Belfour tips it away. Thomas checked on the far boards by Ron Wilson. Rich Sutter is there trying to get the puck loose. Does. Back to Lawler at the point. And a shot tipped wide by Momesso. Then a Conroy clearing pass intercepted by Paul Cavallini to Momesso. Trying to get the puck in front. And it's knocked down and cleared out by Steve Thomas. Lawler for the Blues at his own line. He'll lift it back into the Blackhawk end. And the Hawks clear it out. Intercepting Gino Cavallini. He has to wait for Sutter and shoots it in. Then Goulet sweeps the puck out. Savard can't go anywhere. Back the other way. Rich Sutter. Quick shot. And a pad save with a right leg by Belfour. And the Hawks clear the puck back into the St. Louis end. Taking the puck, Paul Cavallini. His pass knocked down at center ice by Goulet. Rich Sutter gets the puck, shoots it in. The long shot stopped by Belfour and cleared up to Goulet. Right wing to Roenick against Smith. With Presley. Roenick moves in front of shot. He scores! That's 2 of them. Jeremy Roenick does it again.
Simply a one-on-one here, and Roenick goes wide on Step, who got turned around a bit at the line, and he played it well. How Roenick got this puck under Riendeau, I don't know. He came in from a very bad angle, and it went off his pad into the goal. So a bad bounce for the Blues. Roenick should not score from there, and Step did his job. Kept it to the outside, but Riendeau missed it with his stick. It hit his pad and caromed in. And Roenick scored his 9th of the playoffs, 2nd of the game, and 4th of the series, and the Hawks lead 2-0.
Brindamore on now with Hull and Zezel. Blues from the face-off shoot it in, and here come the Hawks to center ice. Jocelyn Lemieux stopped by Brindamore. The Blues rookie shoots it back in. Jocelyn Lemieux again in front of his net. Away from Zezel. Right wing to Graham, the Hawks captain. He'll wrist it in. 2-0 Chicago. Troy Murray in the corner. Has the puck stolen by Paul Cavallini. He'll get it ahead to Brindamore. With Hall at the red line, and Brindamore is slowed up. Keith Brown takes over and shoots it in. After it in the corner is Graham, but it's offside. Chicago. Hawks lead it 2-0 with 6:19 to go in the first period. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Busch Light presents.
All right, ready.
The difference between hard and easy. Drag racing is hard. New Busch Light is easy. Hula dancing is hard. New Busch Light is easy. So after a hard day, reach for the light beer that's cold filtered to make it the easiest drinking around. New Busch Light is easy. Testing office furniture is hard. So make the easy choice.
Jeremy Roenick, second of the night, ninth of the playoffs from Goalie and Wilson at 13:03, and the Blackhawks lead 2-0. And now the Blues in a hole.
And the Hawks control the neutral faceoff. They have it at their defense. Yanni on with Doug Wilson. Left wing for Gilbert over the line. In front for Savard, and he loses the puck. Now Lowry quickly to Tuttle. Tuttle into the Chicago end of the right wing. Centers, and it deflects to Belfour, and he grabs the puck on his knees and holds it to stop play. 2-0 Chicago on the goals by Jeremy Roenick. And there's 6:02 to go in this period. The Blackhawks out shooting the Blues 5-3, and there's no question about it. The Blackhawks have come out and played extremely well in this opening period.
And Belfour really has not been tested. 3 shots on goal, but all 3 shots came during the Blues power play. And now the Blues down 2-0. Wilson out between Tuttle and Lowry. And it's imperative now the Blues get the next goal. They can't get behind 3-0.
Up in the points are defenseman Mike Lawler and Glenn Featherstone. A battle for the puck at the face-off dot, and the Hawks get it. Creighton can't clear it out. Kept in by Featherstone. The puck behind the Hawks net. Belfour out of the crease, plays it over to Larmer. He's hit by Ron Wilson. Then Tuttle. Knocked into the boards by Yanni and tied up there. Loose puck comes to Larmer. Then Ron Wilson intercepts and centers, and Creighton in front of the goal, and he'll play it. Creighton then knocked down behind his net. Puck comes loose, and Doug Wilson takes possession. Up to Savard. His pass for Larmer at center ice, broken up, shot back in, offside by Mike Lawler. Boy, there's been a lot of hitting, no question about it, here in this first period. The Blues are trailing it 2-0. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
A pair of Jeremy Roenick goals has the Hawks ahead 2-0. 5:26 to go in the first period, and the faceoff back in the Blues zone.
Won by Chicago to Manson. His shot hits a player, goes wide. Jeff Brown up to McLean. On with Oates and Momesso. The pass too far, and Presley leaves it at center ice for Roenick, but it's offside. That Chicago pass from inside the Chicago blue line out over the center checkered red line. And the faceoff will come up at the point of the initiation of the pass.
Roenick has set a Blackhawk club record for most points by a rookie in one playoff year. With the 2 goals tonight, Roenick now with 13 points. He came into the game the 3rd leading rookie scorer, and now he's tied with Brindamore for the league lead in that department.
Puck at center ice. Tips back to Jeff Brown at his own line. He gets it ahead too far for Oates. Retreating in his own end, Manson. Up to Presley on a line with Roenick and Thomas. Up from the defense, Bob Murray to move the puck to the Blues line. Not in, then it is shot in by Roenick. Hawks are changing. Jeff Brown, the former Nordique for the Blues, from behind his net up to center ice. Now over the red line. Into the Chicago end on the left wing. Jeff Brown, a pass in front for Momesso. Tipped away, not out. Dirk, a shot from the point, and Belfour the save on Robert Dirk. And the Hawks, Troy Murray gets it up to center ice to Lemieux. He's hit. Manson back at his own end, leaves it for Keith Brown, and he almost loses it to Gino Cavallini, but it's a delayed offside. And as Gino poked it away, the official's whistle stops the action with 4:24 to go in the first period. 2-0. Chicago on a pair of goals by Jeremy Roenick.
And Bruce, if the Blues were to give up another goal and fall behind 3-0, you think Brian Sutter might pull a page out of Mike Keenan's textbook and make a goalie change?
I would have to think it would be in the back of his mind. Although you look at the goals, the second goal, yes, a blunder maybe a little bit by Riendeau, but both of them one-on-one situations against Blues defensemen. The first one, or the second one, pardon me, Schneps was walked around, and then the first one, Brown. So really fundamental plays that the Blues should be able to make.
Hawks have the puck. Maggio bumps Yanni, and then Doug Wilson flips the puck into his own bench, and we'll have a face-off again inside the Chicago blue line. Maggio is out with Gino Cavallini and Rich Sutter. Robert Dirk and Paul Cavallini on defense. And there's 4:16 to go in this first period. Chicago now will send on a pair of fresh defensemen, Dave Manson and Bob Murray. Adam Creighton centering the line for Chicago in this face-off against Maggio, and he wins the draw. Hawks control at their defense. A pass to Creighton at center ice. Now to Michel Goulet and over the line. Looks for Manson, gives him the puck, and a shot blocked by Rich Sutter. Manson at the left point, plays it to Dwayne Sutter behind the net. He can't control. Right point to Bob Murray. His shot knocked down in front by Paul Cavallini. Up to Sutter. He's stopped before he can go anywhere, and Goulet flips the puck back in for Chicago. 3:48 to go, first period. Blues are down 2-0. Blues clear it to center ice, and now the Hawks have the puck again. Played by Manson off the board, back into the St. Louis end. Back for it behind his net, Paul Cavallini. Good forward checking by Chicago. Paul Cavallini loses the puck. Here's Presley, a shot well wide. Off the board, back to the right point to Keith Brown. He can't keep the puck in, it's loose. Roenick gets it at center ice and shoots it in. Crowd reacts as Gino Cavallini and Keith Brown bump. Paul Cavallini with a puck in his own end, lifts it high. Comes down at center ice, gloved by Conroy, and he'll leave it in the neutral zone for Thomas. Steve Thomas ahead to Presley, who sweeps it in. 3:05 left in the first period of the decisive game of this Norris Division Final Series. And Robert Dirk, tired, just clears the puck the length of the ice. And it's touched by Brown, and it is icing against the Blues. Chicago with 5 shots, the Blues with 4, but this period has belonged to the Blackhawks.
This broadcast authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the St. Louis Blues Hockey Club Incorporated solely for the entertainment of our viewing and listening audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the description and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Blues is prohibited. Blackhawks lead 2-0 as the Blues and Hawks square off in Game 7. This is the longest the Blackhawks-Blues series has ever gone. The second longest, a 6-game series in 1982, won by the Hawks 4-2. And as we all know, last year the Hawks dispatched of the Blues in 5 games.
The face-off to the left of the Blues goal. Riendeau facing off for the Blues against Troy Murray. They tie each other up. Featherstone gets the puck to Hall. Conroy on him ahead of Zezel. He's stopped at center ice. Troy Murray over the line. 2-on-1 with Jocelyn Lemieux. A shot, and the save by Riendeau on Troy Murray. And he's held on to, wrestled down behind the net. A loose puck there, and Brindamore has it. Up in the left wing to Zezel. He'll just clear it out. Hawks defensemen have been staying up, and the Hawks forwards have been forechecking, really causing the Blues a lot of problems here in this first period. Blues get to center ice, lose the puck again, then Lemieux can't move in. Lawler tries to clear, Savard intercepts. Spins around, gives it in the slot to Yanni, and a shot, and a stick save by Riendeau. Centered again to Savard. He's robbed by Riendeau. Big saves there by Vincent Riendeau. Hawks keeping this pressure on, which they've had throughout the period. Savard to Doug Wilson. His blast right on the save. Loose in front, Larmer, a shot. Another save by Riendeau. And then Zezel pokes the puck ahead to Hull. One man back, Doug Wilson, and he takes Hull down. And the puck controlled by Chicago, Yanni. Up ice to Gilbert. Now to Savard. 2-on-2 with Larmer over the line. Savard forced back to center ice. Then backhands the puck in. And the two teams are changing as Jeff Brown comes to center ice. Long shot. And Belfour makes the save. And Bob Murray with a puck. Gets it up the right wing. Ahead to Manson with Goalie. Manson shoots, and he shoots it wide. Then Dwayne Sutter crunched to the boards, gets it to Manson. He can't get a shot. Back to the point, Goalie. His shot goes just wide. In front, loose puck. And Jeff Brown takes it for the Blues. It's been a great period for Chicago. Jeff Brown to center ice, dumps the puck in. 1:02 to go. 2-0, Chicago. Jeremy Roenick has scored both goals. Now the Hawks are stopped. Oates moves it in the right wing, gives the puck to McLean. He's too well covered. And the Hawks clear it out. Roenick at center ice avoids a dirt check and loses the puck. And then the Hawks at center ice lose it again. Dirk gives it to McLean over the line in the right wing, flips it wide of Belfort. Romesso after the puck runs into Conroy, and the Hawks clear to center ice. Roenick has it. Jeremy Roenick again in over the line with Presley. He'll shoot. The save by Riendeau. Loose puck in front. And Paul Cavallini clears to center ice. 23 seconds to go. First period. Doug Wilson shoots it back in. Hawks lead 2-0. Dirk up to Momesso. Now to Oates. He's stopped. And Graham fires the puck right back in. Boy, will the Blues be glad to get off the ice at the end of this period. 6 seconds to go. The crowd on its feet. And Paul Cavallini clears to center ice. 1 second remaining. And that's the end of the first period in Game 7 of the Norris Division Finals. Jeremy Roenick scores twice for Chicago at 2:47 and 13:03. And after 20 minutes at the stadium, it's the Chicago Blackhawks 2 and the St. Louis Blues nothing. Coming up during the intermission, Bruce Affleck will visit with the Blackhawks' Jocelyn Lemieux. This is St. Louis Blues hockey. After one period here at Chicago Stadium, the Blues are trailing the Blackhawks 2-0. The Hawks came out flying, and they were very physical in the first period. And maybe as exemplary of the Hawks' physical aspect of the game as anyone is Jocelyn Lemieux, and he is with Bruce Affleck.
Well, he is indeed, Ken, former St. Louis Blues and Montreal Canadian, but now a very happy, I would think, Chicago Blackhawk. And Jocelyn, first of all, is the series gone the way you thought it would?
Yeah, I think it's been the way I already kind of expected that. We didn't think we could win in 4. I don't think St. Louis could possibly think that it could win in 4. We knew it would be long. We knew it would be tough like it is. It's tough physically, and everybody's going full blast out there.
Now, as you look at it, being a former St. Louis Blues, there's still the revenge. Does that get you motivated, or is it just being in the playoffs?
No, I'll tell you what, it's just nice to be playing. And it doesn't matter who I play against or what my role is. The thing is, I'm involved. I feel like I'm involved in a team now. I'm part of a team, and it's just great to be playing. It's always special to play against St. Louis or Montreal, but I think the main thing is just to be happy on the team and be playing.
You must be happy with the way things started in the first period?
Yeah, sure am. We saw Jeremy Roenick come out with a big pair, and I think everybody was ready. How could you not be ready for a game like that anyway? We had a lot of guys talking before that game started, and we knew what we had to do, and I think Jeremy Roenick is a big part of our success right now, and he just proved that once again.
You know, in the first period, I made a comment that I thought the Blackhawks were forechecking much better than the Blues were in the period. Is that a game plan against the Blues defense?
Well, it's not to take anything away from St. Louis defensemen, but they're not that fast. Some of them are big guys, and they hit hard. But when you see guys like that out there, you have to try to make them skate and try to get them tired as quick as possible. And my game is forechecking, and so is a lot of other players' game too. So we try to go with that, and it's working out so far.
There's been a lot of momentum swings in this series during the game itself. Nobody's really taken full control for 60 minutes. But the second period has been the Hawks throughout this series. You go out and just play the same way in the second?
Well, it might be because some guys come in the dressing room and get mad and put on a big show in front of other players. And we have a lot of good leaders that will remind us what the job is out there. And we just have to make sure that we come out every period. We've been playing better second and sometimes third period too. So it's good to know that we get better as the game goes on.
Thank you very much, Jocelyn.
You're welcome.
Jocelyn Mew, a big part of the Blackhawks here. Back up to you, Ken.
All right, Bruce Affleck, the first intermission here in Chicago, and the Blackhawks lead the Blues 2-0. This is St. Louis Blues hockey. Now stay tuned. St. Louis's newest news anchor, Christine Buck, will be along with Don Clark. They'll have an update of the news. And then Rich Gould has the Bush Sports Break.
But Lemieux is in offside on left wing, and the faceoff comes back to center ice.
At first Chicago goal in the opening period at 2:47, Roenick from Doug Wilson and Wayne Presley. And Roenick again at 13:03 from Michel Goulet and Doug Wilson. Very few penalties in this game. Not the penalties in this series that a lot of people would have expected. One of the league's better defensive players is Troy Murray. He's done a good job in this game so far. He's a product of North Dakota. And he can play at both ends of the ice.
And their goalie, Ed Belfour, a product of North Dakota. He led them to a NCAA championship in his freshman year. And he's trying to lead the Blackhawks into the conference, or into the Stanley Cup semifinals. Hawks lead here 2-0. They get to center ice. Roenick in on right wing, drop pass to Bob Murray. Shot, it flutters toward the goal, and it's blocked by Harold Steps. He gets it near the line. Not out, though. Now Thomas on left wing. Hook get by Sutter. Steps is there, and Rick Sutter comes over, flips it down the ice. Bob Murray back in his own zone. Bumped by Oates. Clears ahead, knocked fine by a Gino Cavallini check. And now the puck back in the Blues zone. Robert Dirk there. Got it near the line, held in by Roenick, and now play called as a Blues player. Paul Cavallini was knocked down, and we could have a Blackhawk penalty here. The Hawks lead 2-0. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Now on Ford Escort, get 2.9 financing or $1,000 cash back. Plus Ford's new $500 cash bonus offer for first-time buyers. It's the biggest offer ever on Ford Escort, and it's on all 1990 Ford Escorts. It can mean savings of up to $1,500 on the world's best-selling car, Ford Escort. It's the biggest offer ever.
On both sides of the river to St. Louis, Ford and you.
Wayne Presley of the Hawks picks up a 2-minute slashing penalty here at 1:22 of the second period. And hopefully this is the opportunity the Blues will be able to take advantage of. Presley digging after the puck and slashes Paul Cavallini across the back of the left thigh. He was slow in getting up. Now the Blues with a man advantage.
And they're 0 for 1 tonight and 7 of 31 in the series. Blues dump it in. Belfour behind the goal. Clears it off the glass. Not out. Held in by Oates. Across. But the Blues can't keep it in. And back comes Larmer with Graham. Larmer a shot off Oates' leg and wide. And Jeff Brown, who's celebrating his 24th birthday today, lead pass to Brett Hull. He comes in on right wing. Stopped though. Now Hull centers one. Back on the left point for Jeff Brown. Brown behind the goal for Brindamore. He missed it. Hull is there. Now for Peter Zezel. Zezel around the goal. Still behind that net. Now centers to Brindamore. A shot. Belfour a save on Brindamore. And the Hawks clear it over the boards. And we'll get a face-off deep in the Hawk end.
A good bit of work there by the Blues. Zezel was making such fine moves behind the net. He was almost faking Brindamore in front, but he was patient enough to wait. Brindamore did a good job to get the shot away, but Belfour was down and was able to block the shot completely. Boy, some real good work behind the net by Zezel. A big save on the power play for Belfour. This really is a situation, Bruce, where if you're not expecting a lot of special team action in a game and you can't tell this early, that the Blues have to take advantage of.
They certainly do, Ken. Trailing 2-0. This is their chance to get back in it. They missed in the first period. They've got to get some shots at Belfour. Put everything at the net. Funny things can happen in a hockey game.
Lots of time to go in the period. 1:16 left in the power play. Blues trailing 2-0. Get the draw. Oates on the right point. Now for Brindamore on the boards. In deep to Zezel. Right to center one. That's knocked down. Zezel in the far corner. Now behind the goal for Brett Hull. Keith Brown is there. Riendeau comes in to Zezel. Far corner now for Riendeau. Works in. Back on the point for Brown. To Brett Hall. Centers one. Zezel there. Can't shoot it. Oh, Riendeau had an open goal, but the pass went over his stick. And Troy Murray back to center. Murray into the blue zone. Trying to barge through the defense. Knocked down by Brown. And Oates control. Back are the Blues. Jeff Brown at center for McLean. He's knocked down, but he dumps it in. Conroy back there. Pass around the boards. Held in by Oates. Good play there by Adam Oates. In behind the goal, Jeff Brown, or rather Keith Brown of the Blackhawks gets away. Now to Graham. Center ice to Larmer. In on left wing. Shoots. He scores! Short-handed goal. 3-0 Blackhawks.
Third short-handed goal by the Blackhawks in the playoffs. Larmer's second. He's on the move, takes the pass at the red line. Top of the left circle, lets it go, glove side high, and he just catches the corner, the upper corner. Graham did a good job spotting Larmer, getting the pass to him, and he lets her rip. And he's quite a marksman. And that makes it 3-0 Chicago. Larmer's fourth goal of the playoffs. His 13th point. He's the Blackhawks' leading scorer in the playoffs. And that is Steve Larmer's third goal in this playoff series. Check it, make it his second. And of course, he was their regular season scoring leader. And the Blues really in trouble now.
3-0. 15 seconds left in the Blues power play. Paul Cavallini at his own line, nearly lost it. Now gets it and dumps it in. Belfort trying to clear it. He does off the glass. And the puck comes to center. Lemesso at his own line for Featherstone. And now the Hawk player Presley back on. Blues dump it in here. Gilbert in the near corner. Check by Lemesso. And the puck played ahead to Presley. Wayne Presley into the Blues zone. Works by Featherstone. Knocked down by Featherstone. And back from the Blues. Lemesso on left wing. Pass to center ice. He lost it. Now Paul Cavallini ahead to Lemesso. In for Paul McLean on left wing. Works in. Centers one. Belfort, big save on Adam Oates. And then Manson knocked McLean flying. And Belfort hangs on.
The youngster Belfort has come up with some very big saves, especially early in this second period. 3-0 Chicago. This is St. Louis Blues hockey. Chicago veteran Steve Larmer gets the third Blackhawk goal at 3:03. Shorthanded, his fourth from Graham and Brown.
And the Blues trailing 3-0. Clear it in deep. Lowry behind the goal. Now Lowry in front. Mongeau a shot. Belfort! A big save on Mongeau. But once again, with the goalie down, Mongeau put it really right in Belfort's path.
Well, Bruce Affleck, you always look for the hot hand of a goaltender in any big game.
You certainly do, and Belfort has it in game number 7 here, but as John mentioned, the shot right into him. He is going down on the play. Mongeau can get it up. It's a goal, but he puts it right into Belfort. The Blues have got to start getting some by Belfort if they want to get back into this game, trailing 3-0.
No question, Belfort going down. It looked like Mongeau, with the angle of the blade of his stick, was trying to get upstairs. Never really had real good control of the puck. Elected to go with the quickness rather than waiting a bit to settle the puck down, and could not get it over at Belfort. The rotating goaltenders for Chicago in this series: Greg Millen, Ed Belfort, Jacques Cloutier, who Mike Keenan used for the better part of Game 6 Saturday night in St. Louis. But he decides to come back with the youngster Belfort, and he has not been disappointed. He has stopped all 8 Blues shots.
And the Hawks lead 3-0. Face-off left of Belfort. Riendeau on the draw against Troy Murray. Riendeau will try and get it back to Brett Hull. Zezel also on the line. Now Lemieux will take the draw against Riendeau. And Graham skates in the circle a bit early. That's one thing the Blues have talked about concerning Belfour. He goes down, and they want to fake the shots and shoot high, but so far they haven't done that. Hawks get the draw, come to center, and Troy Murray clears it over the glass. And the faceoff will be back in the neutral zone.
So a big mountain now in front of the Blues, down 3-0. The thing that's on their side, of course, is there's almost 36 minutes of hockey to go. The Blues handling the Blackhawks in the regular season series, getting their hopes very high, of course, by winning Game 1 here in Chicago. That gave them the, in essence, home ice advantage, but Chicago picked up a win in Game 4 at St. Louis, and the 7th game comes down to give them the advantage.
Now the Blues back to center. Here at center ice, Brett Hull down the right wing side. Plays it back to center for Dirk. He'll dump it in. Zezel went after it. Conroy in the corner. Checked by Zezel. Centers to Hall. A shot. Oh, what a save there by Belfour. As Brett Hull with a quick turnaround drive was robbed by Belfour's short side.
You don't have to worry where Belfour is going to be. He is going to be on his knees. Hull really doesn't even look. He just whirls, tries to go up. There's no question about it. He was trying to go up, but trying to go up and getting it up is another story. And Belfour had that one hit him in the chest as Brett Hull was bidding for his 14th goal of the playoffs. Well, one thing the Blues have to fend off now is frustration. You fall behind 3-0, that's scary enough. Then all of a sudden you start getting good scoring chances. And when you don't get anything, human nature will lead you to be frustrated. And the Blues can ill afford to be frustrated. They just have to keep shooting and hammering away.
Now the Blues get the draw in deep. Brindamore centers one. Hull knocked down. And then Paul Cavallini can't hold it in. But Brindamore does, but a penalty called, a tripping call. And it will go against Paul Cavallini. Hawks lead 3-0, and they'll get a power play. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
4:43 of the second period is the time of Paul Cavallini's tripping penalty. The Blackhawks will move on to the power play for the first time in this game. They are 7 out of 36 in this playoff series. Paul Cavallini felt he was in a desperate situation. It really wasn't the case, but he felt like there wasn't anybody behind him, and he takes the penalty. The Hawks in the playoffs, only 12 playoff goals for about 15%, not the best.
And they move in with a 3-0 lead. Savard behind the goal for Roenick. Knocked down by Jeff Brown in the far corner. Savard digs it free. Left point for Doug Wilson. Back to Savard. Watched by Lowry. Now for Doug Wilson. A blast. Wide rebound. And Larmer put it wide on the short side. Now Roenick in the far corner. On the board for Savard. Dennis Savard on the left point now. Looks in front. Still has it. In deep now for Roenick. Back to Savard. He missed it. And the puck slides down the ice. A race for it. And Doug Wilson has to hustle back. Wilson in front of his own goal. Up for Bob Murray. Center ice to Savard. Into the Blues end. Savard on the right wing side. Nearly gave it away. And now Jeff Brown for the Blues shoots it down the ice. 1:05 to go in the Hawk power play. They lead 3-0. Savard sweeps one to center. Blocked by Lawler at his own line for Featherstone. And he'll dump in. And Manson behind his own goal. Checked by Rick Sutter, but Manson carries to center ice. Pass on right wing. Goes down the ice. Riendeau behind the goal. Try to flip it away. Knocked down back there by Goulet. Now Creighton on the puck. But Rick Sutter is there on right wing. And he turns and shoots it down the ice. Good job here of killing the penalty by the Blues. Half a minute to go in Paul Cavallini's minor. Manson to center ice. He'll dump it in. Off the board. Mike Lawler turns and gets it. And shoots it off Koharski's back and down the ice. And Trent Yanni races back in his own zone. Yanni behind his own goal. Time running out on the power play. To Troy Murray at center. Broken up again by the Blues. Jeff Brown played back in by the Hawks. And it's offside. And then Gilbert and Steps get involved in some extracurricular activity. but only 5 seconds left in Cavallini's minor.
The Blues down 3-0 have done a good job killing this penalty, not allowing the Blackhawks to set up. You would have thought, Bruce Affleck, that one of the advantages in this 7th game would be the Blues' power play advantage in the playoffs, but it certainly hasn't materialized yet in this one.
No, it certainly hasn't. 0 for 2 tonight. Maybe they can go the otother way and get a shorthanded goal. It would certainly help them. They need a spark to get back in this game, Ken, and to come being shorthanded, maybe a fight, some things, maybe sometimes even small. They've got to get that spark to get that first goal past Ed Belfour.
13:22 to go. Second period. The Hawks lead 3-0. They clear it in. And that's behind his goal. And now Paul Cavallini is back on. The Blues are at full strength. And Paul Cavallini gets a pass at center. He'll flip it in. Bounces wide at Belfour. He leaves it for Yanni. Around the board to Lemieux. Lemieux at center ice. Now for Savard. It's offside across 2 lines, where the Hawks would have had a 2-on-1.
Now Momesso and Trent Yanni do some shoving. Boy, there's been a lot of hard hitting here tonight in Game 7, as you would expect. 3-0 Chicago. This is St. Louis Blues hockey. Chicago Blackhawks looking to win this game and advance to the Campbell Conference Finals for the 5th time since 1982. But in their first 4 times against Vancouver, Edmonton twice, and Calgary, they've won only 4 games.
Hawks lead this game 3-0. Just past the 7-minute mark of the second period. Blues trying to keep it in. They do. Yanni back in the near corner. Pass in front of his own goal for Gilbert. Off the board to Savard. He gets to center. In across the Blues line. In for Larmer. Larmer behind the net. Up the other side. Center. Savard a shot. He scores! And it's 4-0.
The Blackhawks very active. The Blues doing some standing around. Savard takes it out of his end. Watch him when he gets over the blue line. Watch him pull up. Boy, does that change the flow to Larmer, who really doesn't have a chance. Now watch Savard. All alone. He's got all the time in the world, and Riendeau is terribly screened. And that makes it 4-0 Chicago. Denny Savard. Look at Larmer, the playmaker. Very, very patient. Just kept waiting. And both Oates and Snep screening Riendeau. So Denny Savard gets his 4th playoff goal. Only his 2nd in this series. The time of the goal, 7:28 here in the second period. And a big, big 4-0 lead. And Riendeau is going to go to the bench. And Curtis Joseph is going to come on and play goal for the Blues. And down 4, Bruce, in a 7th game of a playoff series is an awfully big deficit to face. But maybe this can be the point where they turn it around by changing goalies.
Well, you try anything to win a hockey game, and I guess you could read it after the 4th goal. Nothing against Riendeau. Brian Sutter using the Mike Keenan tactic to get his team going by changing goalies, and Joseph has not played since the Toronto series. He will not get a warm-up. He is ready. The Blues need something to get going here. As you said, trailing 4-0, awfully tough. Blues, not really what you'd expect of the Blues coming into a 7th game. And one thing you didn't want to see happen is the game won by a fluke goal or by a large margin, and the Hawks lead at 4-0.
Now the Blues trying to keep it in. They can't off the draw. Graham to center ice now for Chicago. He'll dump it in. Dirk back in the far corner. Can't clear it. Now Zezel gets it. He overskates it. Paul Cavallini carries to center ice, though. Paul Cavallini across the line. In the deep slot. Centers one. Tipped wide by Zezel. Lemieux over there. Bumped by Brindamore. Fred Hall gets it free. Now to Zezel. He can't center, though, and back on the Blackhawks. 3-on-2. Troy Murray in on right wing. To Graham a shot. And Joseph a pad save there. Blues trying to work it away. They do. Brindamore at center. For Hall. He lost it. Loose puck. Poked in by Roenick. And Dirk has to scamper back. He's bumped by Roenick in the corner. Now Thomas gets it. In front to Roenick. Shoots one! And Joseph got his right pad on that. And Brett Hull clears it away. That bounces down the ice on goal. Now 11:25 left, second period. Hawks lead 4-0. And then Thomas knocked down at the line. And the Blues get the loose puck. But play called. And away from the play. I'm not sure if the Blues had too many men or not. And I believe they did.
Well, there's 6 of them out there right now. That's about one too many, with Joseph being the 7th, and you can only have 3 forwards, 2 defensemen, and a goalie. And there's 6 skaters along with Curtis Joseph. And that's the way this 7th game has been going. Don Koharski blew the whistle and started counting. And it wasn't that hard to figure out the problem. Let's pause 15 seconds for station identification. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
There's one secret ingredient that goes into every Imo's pizza, sandwich, and salad. Tradition. Over 25 years of nothing but fresh, natural quality ingredients. Check the yellow pages for the Imo's nearest you.
Don't go to bed with egg on your face. Watch Cheers, weeknights at 6:30 and 10:30.
Ken Wilson, John Kelly, Bruce Affleck in Chicago. A too many men on the ice penalty to the Blues. Here at 8:43, Bruce Affleck. That kind of adds insult to injury to pile on that embarrassment.
They just start to pile one on top of each other. Things going the wrong way for Coach Brian Sutter. He's got his biggest task as a head coach ahead of him. A little over a period left in regulation time. And first of all, you have to start by killing off the Chicago power play. And we talked about Sparks. Shorthanded goal would certainly do it for the Blues.
Chicago had that one power play moments ago. They're 0 for 1. The Blues 0 for 2.
And the Hawks lead 4-0. Blackhawks hit the draw. Doug Wilson works in. Can't center one. Now behind the goal, Paul Cavallini knocked it down. And he backhands it back to center. Picked up by Ron Wilson. He works in on right wing. Centers to Lowry. Right in a shot. Great save, Belfour. And Lowry put the rebound wide. Oh, a good chance there. And Thomas back to center ice. He'll jump in. Roenick in the far corner. Now for Presley on the boards. Back on the point for Doug Wilson. Far side for Wayne Presley. Works to the corner. Still has it on left wing. In deep for Roenick. Roenick looks to center. Steps broke it up. But it's grabbed by Presley on the left wing side. Wayne Presley works in now. Can't shoot it as Ron Wilson broke it up. He gets to center for Lowry. In across the Hawk line. Back to Ron Wilson, knocked down. And now with a minute to go in the power play. Back is Thomas to Savard. But that play was offside at the Blues line.
Well, the Blues have to even take chances here. And you can see they've had a couple of good chances shorthanded. But instead of saying, well, we're going to clear it away, you've got to think offense when you're shorthanded. And that makes it a very difficult way to play this game. This crowd beginning to chant, Ed, 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 Ed. This young goaltender who played with the Canadian national team during the season has come on here and surprised a lot of people, and he's been exceptional in this second period against the Blues.
A minute to go in the Blues. Vince Miner. The Hawks lead 4-0. Manson back on the right point. Far side for Savard. He works in, fakes it. Now for Larmer's side of the goal. Back to Savard on the point. Dennis Savard left point. Works to the corner. Now cuts to the slot. A drive. Joseph a pass save as he went to his knees. Now Larmer on right wing. Across for Savard. Tipped by Otso with a good play. And the puck goes out of play.
The Blackhawks absolutely energized. They have not lost a step since the opening face-off of this game. They came out, played very well early. In the opening period, Roenick scored at 2:47. They kept pounding away. Roenick again at 13:03, and then the Blues surviving the first period down only 2-0, but it's been Chicago again in this period, and a real backbreaker was the Chicago Blackhawks shorthanded goal. Larmer at 3:03, and then Savard now scores at 7:28, and they're just showing no signs of slowing up. It's a very hungry Blackhawk team tonight.
Face off right of Joseph. Half a minute to go in the Hawk power play. Now left point. It's Conroy, or rather Yanni. Now for Manson, a shot. He scores! 5-0.
They're loving it in Chicago. Conroy teeing it up at the point. And before Joseph could ever really get set, that drive was by him. Yanni had it. Conroy had pitched in. And there was no question, Bruce, Joseph really never was set for the shot.
No, he certainly wasn't. A good shot by Dave Manson, who gets his second playoff goal. What can you say? Things are not going the Blues' way, and not the way they wanted, that's for sure, trailing 5-0.
Manson gets the goal. John had mentioned Conroy when it was Yanni, and it's Manson who lets it go from the right point.
Now off the draw, the Blues at full strength.